Good evening. It is Monday, October 24th at 7 p.m. and I call the Maple Plains City Council business meeting to order. Please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I am looking for a motion to adopt tonight's agenda.
So moved.
Moved by Cahill,
Second.
second by Francis. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. First item of business this evening is presentations, and tonight we have with us guest James from McGarry's Pub and owner Bill McGarry, and I'm going to invite them forward to the podium. They have some check presentations, and also with us we have Mayor Johnson from Independence and Lieutenant Zach Christensen and Chief Gary Kroles, who will all be a part of this as well. So we'll start with James and Bill, please. And you'll want to pull that microphone down so we get you on camera and can hear you.
Bill's got this one.
Well, I was going to say, neither of us prepared a speech, so we're just here to say, first of all, thank you for the first responders, right? You guys do a phenomenal job. And earlier this year, we had our golf event, and through that, we're able to raise some funds that we want to provide to you guys. We know this is a little better money in the sense that you get to decide what's used for, as opposed to being told this is being designated for something. So, you know, put it to good use. I'm sure you will. So, we were able to raise $3,114 for both the police department and the fire department. Now, to make that happen, though, we have to have at the restaurant, we've been here now 18 years as a pub, we have to have a general manager that likes to golf. And that was the key to making this as successful as it was. And James is thinking ahead on this, so the trophy he bought is good for 10 years worth of engravings of who wins the test and all that. So we're looking forward to doing this and continue to do it.
Well, on behalf of the city, a special thank you to McGarry's Pub and to James, the amazing general manager, for hosting this and for the support of our first responders, West Hennepin Public Safety and Maple Plain Fire, and we just appreciate the partnership, and we just value this great community, and it's one of the reasons we're one of the safest communities in the state is because of our first responders and because of the partnerships that we share with business owners and residents, and the love that we have for our first responders, both police and fire, and for public safety in general. So we appreciate you doing this and continuing to do this, and look forward to the continued partnership. And at this time, Mayor Johnson is here as we serve JPAs. So we're going to do a couple pictures with the fire, police, and McGarry's. So if we could just take like a 5-minute recess, I'd appreciate that, Grant. Why don't we walk in front of Maple Plain?
You
ready?
Okay. Big checks.
Okay. And then we can raise it
Per entity?
Yeah. 6,200.
That's amazing.
Sure. One on each side. Doesn't matter. Yeah, put it in the middle and make me look smaller. Man.
There we go. There we go. Are we centered?
And there's
And then you get the fire.
Perfect.
All right.
yeah,
Okay.
you do that.
Yep.
You
You see
do
that?
He said he's
Zoom
gonna
in
get
on the
big checks
numbers.
next year. That's what he told us.
Perfect. All right, ready? 3, 2, 1. We'll do one more just in case. I'm shaky. Perfect.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Awesome, awesome.
You bet.
Can't wait. That's what I'm dreaming about, right? Thanks again.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah.
This is good. Yeah, how many teams started?
We had 96 golfers.
Yeah.
22 teams. We had 24 teams.
Do you want me to hold it till Wednesday?
I got a zipper pouch right here, Mayor.
Okay. I can be your mom.
72. And
When's the last time we had a check?
So 72 and 36.
All the time.
Really?
Adam's new apartment only takes checks.
Keelan doesn't have checks. Keelan doesn't have checks, I know that.
Thank you, you guys.
Really?
Thank you,
I
Marvin.
do too, but
Maybe once a year.
yes. I finally transitioned to online payments.
All right. All right. Thank you for your patience, everyone. There was a couple questions while we were doing pictures. There were 24 teams of golfers, 96 golfers in total. So it was a great turnout. There was lots of people that day. It was an interesting day to be out on the golf course. There was some downpours and some wind and some sun and a little bit of everything in Minnesota. So we look forward to that next year. With that, the next item of business is visitors to be heard. Okay, I do not see any, so we will move on to the consent agenda. And before I list all those, I'm going to turn it over to staff, our administrator, to give us a synopsis of that so I can save my voice a little bit.
I know, I think I just got a frog in my voice,
Uh-oh, sorry.
my throat, so I'll muscle through here. First, did you want to do the pull thing first, or should we wait? Should we do that at the end? Okay. So I just wanted to give a quick synopsis, just because we don't typically have this many items on the consent agenda. Excuse me. Meeting minutes are pretty typical. We do have a pay application for the Highway 12 water main project, which is just about wrapped up, and I believe, I don't have that right up in front of me, $59,225.09 on that one. Come back down here. We have a fire department wage increase from $13.75 to $14.25. That was a recommendation from the personnel committee. We have on here a sewer service ordinance amendment. We are going to, after some discussion at the workshop, I believe that one will get pulled for further discussion at a future workshop. We have a planning commission appointment. Nick Altavilla has accepted that position, so he'll be starting next month. We have some employee handbook revisions that have kind of been on the books for a couple of years that we've kind of gotten to go through that in detail with a fine tooth comb and make those revisions. We have some lift station pump maintenance. Dylan did go ahead and get a few quotes, or attempted to get a few. I think we ended up with 2. So that is replacing a number of kind of rebuilding the 2 lift station pumps. They're significantly worn, but we think we can get some more life out of those. Sewer reimbursement resolution is a resolution that's needed to get our grant money from the Met Council. We have a city council wage ordinance change. That ordinance had not been changed for, what was it, approximately 10 years, since 2008. So we are recommending a change in that, and that was, I believe, a $50 increase for both the council member and the mayor on those. Go back up here. Wait, now all of a sudden I'm feeling very empathetic to you guys having to jump around in your agendas. And then finally, we have the tobacco and THC license. So council had adopted the THC licensing ordinance, which we, staff, implemented a licensing process for that. We are licensing only the Maple Plains Smoke Shop because they have a related tobacco license as well. There will be a tobacco license in likely December for the liquor depot as well. We typically will present them together, but because we are implementing the THC license, we wanted to get the smoke shop licensed immediately. That's that. Any questions on those?
All right, so with that, any questions for staff on the consent agenda? So hearing none, I'm looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda minus letter D, sewer service ordinance.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Fay,
Second?
second by Cahill. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the consent agenda minus letter D, sewer service ordinance.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. Next item of business this evening is to look at our accounts payable. We have 2 recommendations for action. First, to approve the city check batch. Looking for a motion to do that.
So moved.
Moved by Cahill.
Second.
Second by Francis. Any discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the city check batch, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. Next item is to approve the fire partnership check batch. Looking for a motion to do that.
So moved.
Moved by Cahill.
I'll second with a comment or a question.
Okay, second by Fay. Comments or questions? We'll start with Councilmember Fay.
Just briefly, Clarissa, there's a couple of things in here, and being part of the fire commission, there's no description on what some of the small tools and minor expenses or apparatus, just to keep myself abreast, I guess, of whether it's turnout gear or improvements to the ladder truck or something of that nature. Can we make sure that a description gets in the individual line items?
Sure.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments regarding the fire partnership check badge? Okay, hearing none. All in favor of approving the fire partnership check badge?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, motion carries 4-0. Next item of business is staff reports. First is our city planner, who unfortunately isn't able to be with us tonight. He did submit a written report, and then if anyone has questions, we can let Clarissa know, and she will get those to him. Any questions for Mark, our planner? Okay. Next, we'll hear from West Hennepin Public Safety, Director Crales, and we're already on a microphone.
That means I get to go first. Honorable Mayor and council members, before you, included in your packet is the September activity report for 2022 for West Hennepin Public Safety Department. Through September, we've handled 3,558 incident complaints, and in the month of September, 255 occurred in Independence and 101 in Maple Plain. As I look through the numbers, compared to last year, I look at self-initiated activity, mainly traffic. You'll see that we're a little bit lower than we were before than compared to last year. Just a reminder, we've been short 1 full-time officer since March. So 1 full-time patrol officer does make a difference in the amount of proactive traffic enforcement that's out there. And over time, those numbers do add up. So I'll go ahead and highlight a few cases for you, and then feel free to ask any questions that you may have on any of them. On September 2nd, we were called to the 5200 block of Bryant Wood Drive. An officer in another agency was out with an owner of a vehicle who had the wrong plates on their vehicle. They were found, it was suspicious to them, so they asked us to go wake up the owners at the Bryant Wood apartments to find out what was going on with these plates. In doing so, we determined that the license plates had been stolen off of this vehicle in Maple Plain and put on the other vehicle, and the person had not yet noticed that the plates had been stolen. So the other, we're obviously investigating that to the people that they had pulled over in another city. So sometimes the good guys get ahead on one there, and that was a good case. We did have a pursuit, County Road 92 and County Road 6 in Independence during the day. Just a normal traffic stop. I believe, it was 55 in a 30-mile-an-hour zone going past the Oxyoke Inn in that area. That's a pretty common area for people to speed heavily in that 30 zone there. And the officer thought it'd just be a routine stop, and when he went to pull over the red pickup truck, it just took off at well over 100 miles an hour. He pursued it for a short period of time to the point where it was going southbound or northbound on County Road 83 into Maple Plain. And at that point, he was like, this guy's way too fast. He was going over 100 miles an hour coming into Maple Plain. So we terminated the pursuit. And once we got up to Highway 12, we weren't sure which direction that the person went, if they went straight, east or west. We believe they went straight because I don't know how you'd make the turn coming over the bridge that fast. And then a few days later, we did have a reported stolen vehicle in the area there. So we're assuming that somehow or another he ditched the vehicle in that area and then stole a different one. We never did find it, the other vehicle that he was in, but unfortunately, I hate to report, but pursuits are up. People, routinely flee from police all over the state, all over the metro, and it's not uncommon for that to happen. We use good sound judgment, and I think the officer did at this particular time to say it's just not worth it coming into a residential area. It's way too fast, and we were lucky nobody got hurt in that. So, a couple of cases, one on September 9th, and then you'll see them later on in the report. We call them the crime prevention reports. So our officers that work the mid shift or the overnight shifts will drive around, and a lot of times we'll do business open door checks or drive around and see people's garage doors open in the middle of the night. So obviously being a victim of a crime is mainly because of the opportunity that presents itself. So in this particular case or cases, you'll see officers drive around and notice 1, 2, 3 in the morning, somebody's garage door is open with all their power tools and their car and all their valuable items and tools in their garage with it wide open. They'll go up to the home, they'll fill out a crime prevention report. They'll try to discreetly wake them up, but a lot of times they'll just shut the garage door and leave the note on their door that the police were here and their door was found open. So I appreciate that the officers do that, because anytime that you can prevent a crime sure saves a lot of hassle for the victims and for everybody in the long run. September 13, we had a domestic assault arrest in the 5300 block of Highway 12 in Maple Plain. We were dispatched to check on a male party walking down the middle of Highway 12. Had blood running down his face with some pretty large laceration above his eye. It was determined that his girlfriend from Maple Plain decided to take a television remote control and throw it at him, which struck him in the eye, causing him to cut his eye. And she was later arrested and transported to Hennepin County Jail for misdemeanor domestic assault. Noise complaint, the 1600 block at Delano Avenue. We did have some construction workers operating in a backhoe late at night. They were just simply trying to move it and transport it, and neighbors didn't like that, so we got called and they were apologized for moving it so late at night. September 16th, a very interesting case that is still under investigation, so I'll give you as much as I dare. On the 5200 block of Bryantwood Drive, Sergeant Dennison was dispatched to an apartment in there with a lot of people screaming and saying lots of blood. And by the time he arrived there 2 minutes later, everybody was gone. Couldn't get anybody in the apartment to answer, couldn't get anybody to return our phone calls. He checked, couldn't find anybody, nothing. So about 45 minutes later, he's still trying to figure out what happened. North Memorial calls that somebody had been shot in the hand with a handgun. So anytime you go to North Memorial and there's a gunshot, they're mandatory reported to law enforcement a gunshot. This particular individual says he shot himself accidentally in the hand, split his whole hand wide open. Sergeant Dennison goes to the hospital to take his statement. A lengthy investigation trying to determine where the gun was. Gun went missing, and we're still trying to determine where that is, where he got it from. He was under 21, so he's not supposed to be possessing a handgun. And then we removed some of the shrapnel out of the sheetrock wall in the apartment complex, and charges are pending for illegal discharge of a firearm. So all in all, the person that caused himself to get hurt was the only one that got hurt, but it really could have been bad with all the other residents and people in there. And, unfortunately, it's run around of stories of what happened, and took a long time to figure it out, but we eventually got there. So, and then You don't need to know about that one. I'll tell you about that one. 5200 block of Manchester Drive again. Suicidal female, her and her partner got into an argument. This happens quite frequently, unfortunately. And one said that she was suicidal and wanted to hang herself with nylons. She left the residence. We did put an alert out on that person. Another agency had stopped that vehicle due to our alert that we put on the vehicle and the person, and then they determined that she was no longer suicidal and was allowed to be released without any further contact. Unfortunately, a short time later, she again said she was suicidal, and then again the partner called us to report that she was suicidal again and wanted us to put another alert on her 15 minutes after we just checked on her, and she said she was fine. So it's kind of that back and forth, trying to do what's right for the person and right for the officer. The long and short of it is we want that person to be safe and healthy, and we think they are. But a lot of times I think in this case, they are looking for somebody to talk to and get some more assistance from, and we're there for them for that. So having said all that, happy to answer any other questions that you have. Otherwise, you can see at the end, 117 contacts as citations, verbal warrants, written warnings were our officers in regards to traffic.
Any questions or comments for the chief? Thank you to you and your staff for your work.
Thank you.
All right. Next, we'll hear from our city engineers, so I'll invite you to the podium. Not sure who's David. Okay.
Good evening, Your Honor, members of the council. My report is in your packet, but just to give you an overview of some of the things we worked on here in the last month, kind of the ongoing staff meetings, working with your public works staff on kind of routine maintenance practices in town. We have spent some time taking a look at some drainage concerns that were raised at on Spring Avenue with some new building construction over there. We continue to work with the builder over there to resolve those drainage issues. Kind of some of the new landscaping and the way that building was constructed is causing some concerns on the neighboring property. So we continue to work with them to get those resolved. Also had some discussions with the property owner, the 5370 Highway 12, just about some potential site improvements that they're going to make, and questions related to drainage and what they might need to do if they were to move forward with some improvements, I believe, to their parking lot. We had some cleanup work on that master agreement with MnDOT that you approved here a couple meetings ago. Also, we continue to coordinate with the City of Medina on the improvements with the townhome development along Baker Park Road. There are some utility improvements that they'll be making that ties into the City of Maple Plain. The Chief has also been working with them on some of their traffic control. It's been proposed to make some road closures over there, and I know that he's been in contact with them about concerns related to potential detours there. So continue to look out for that on behalf of the city. And then we had talked about this at the workshop, but have also had a couple meetings with Hennepin County related to a pavement rehabilitation project that they're proposing for next year on County Road 19 and 29. The project would go from the stoplights by the Holiday Station up Baker Park Road, County Road 19, all the way to Highway 55 through Loretto. The project would be primarily pavement rehabilitation, but also making some improvements to culvert crossings and then ADA improvements along places where we have pedestrian crossings, trails, items like that. So we'll continue to work with them and update you as that project continues to progress. And as we discussed at the workshop, part of that project was originally Main Street between Highway 12 and Baker Park Road, and we're in conversations with them about potentially pulling that out as a standalone project would give us a little time to understand and potentially move forward with what to do with our utilities that are under that road and that are aging. 2022 sewer improvement project, again, that's been bid. We have a contract. That's the one where we're going to do some sewer lining along Baker Park Road and Highway 12. The completion date for that project isn't until 2023. We stretched that out, so we still won't have a start date for that, but we'll continue to update you as that schedule becomes more clear. And then the Highway 12 replacement project, the water main is in place. The connections have been restored. The traffic control's been removed from Highway 12 in the sense that the lanes are open again, but as we discussed earlier, still have the barrels out there and some signage. Matt's going to work with the contractor to try to make sure that we're cleaning up the things that don't need to be there anymore. But that project should be wrapping up here in the next couple days, and hopefully get that restored and back kind of unencumbered here moving into the winter. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Any questions for engineers? All right.
Yeah,
Thank you to you and your staff. Great. Next, we'll hear from People Service for our Public Works report.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Just a few bullet points here that I kind of put together. I know you guys get the report in the monthly review, but yeah, just some of the goals that I had for the last quarter was completing the hydrant flushing and the street sweeping, which currently we're working on right now. Hopefully be done by the end of the week, and then street sweeping the following week. And then working with Bolton and Mink on a couple projects with the Highway 12 water main and Willow and Poplar. And like he said, the Highway 12 went pretty well, and Willow and Poplar, we're still trying to gather some information for that. And removing the American flags after Labor Day, which went well without any rental fees. And for next quarter, just kind of come up with a plan so we can kind of get Willow and Poplar looking a little nicer there on the south end of town, and get the holiday decorations hung up here in a couple weeks, and work on repairing a culvert on Industrial Street and some road patching. Get started on a valve exercise maintenance plan, complete emergency response plans, and just continue with our work order maintenance plan. You guys have any questions or concerns for me?
Thank you for your hard work and keeping our city looking good.
Thank you.
All right. Next, we'll hear from Lieutenant Zach Christensen with our Fire Department report.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm Zach Christensen, Lieutenant for Maple Plain Fire Department. I'm here for Ray McCoy, on behalf of Ray McCoy. He should have sent you his report in your packets. I'm going to start out with, we have 254 calls year to date for this year. We have a couple highlights I want to point out. We did have a couple rollovers on the new roundabout at Highway 12 and County Road 90, 2 semi rollovers there. We did have a call September 21st, a mutual aid to Watertown for their lumber yard that started on fire. And then we did have a great house burn, training burn in Independence that we all took part in, along with Mound and Loretto. A few community events that we've done between July and September. National Night Out on August 2nd. We had a great turnout there. Great to see all the community members there. We were also out on the 3rd. And then we had Tour de Tonka, the Polo Classic, and then we had the Discovery Center Vehicle Fair. And I did really want to say thanks to McGarry's for the great golf tournament that we did on September 24th. Hopefully we can keep doing that. Just want to let everybody know that the fire department did beat the police department on that. And then October.
You forgot. Softball's not even on the report. They didn't even put that in the report. No, it was in Fire Commission too.
And then on
Still
October
hurts.
8th, we did our annual fire department open house. which we had a great turnout at. It was very fun to see all the community there, the kids. We did have a record year. We gave out roughly just about 200 passports for ice cream for kids, so that was really great. And I want to say thank you to the mayor. We did get all the letters from the kids for Fire Prevention Month, and it was great to see those. So we like seeing those at the fire department. With that, any questions for me?
Any questions for Lieutenant Christensen? Great. Thank you, and thank you to you and all the firefighters. for
Yes,
keeping us
thank you.
safe. All right. And next, we'll hear from our administrator, Clarissa.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, we are always busy. A hard time narrowing it down here. So we've, in the last quarter, obviously done a lot of work with the budget and levy. So we're kind of getting to the tail end of that process. The Truth and Taxation hearing is scheduled for Monday, December 5th at 7 p.m. here in the council chamber. So I will have a more in-depth presentation on the budget at that time. People are invited to join us for that. We went through a what ended up being a lengthy effort to get a snow plowing contract, and we are all settled and set up with that. We had a meeting with the contractor today, and we're excited to build that relationship and get going with that. We would ask for some patience while everyone learns, since it is a new contractor, but also we welcome feedback on they're very open to suggestions and learning our preferences and such. So Grant has been working diligently on grant projects, both grants that we've already received, implementing those, and then new grants. Elections, we've been working on absentee voting since the end of September. That is kind of slowly ramping up. Sharon and Jill would be doing healthcare voting at Haven Homes tomorrow. There was, I believe it was today, was the ballot testing, and then we're just kind of slowly seeing an increase in early voters here in the office. We went through the process of implementing the THC licensing, so we are all done with that now after the consent agenda license was awarded there. And then yeah, just kind of typical day-to-day resident inquiries, financial activities, trying to move our chess pieces forward and keep our ducks in a row and all of that. So,
Any questions for Clarissa? Thank you to you and all your staff.
Thank
for all
you.
you guys do. And thank you to all our staff. I know every month you submit reports. Please know that we do read them and we do appreciate them. And we value you being here with us quarterly and appreciate you and your staff's work to keep the city functioning. All right. With that, I am looking for a motion to receive all staff reports, both submitted and verbally.
So moved.
Moved by Cahill,
Second?
second by Fay. Any further discussion or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. We will move on to new business. And first item of new business this evening is 5115 Industrial Street, the AT&T conditional use permit amendment. And I'm going to turn that over to Clarissa.
Council members realize Mark visited us in the workshop and gave an overview on this so that he could head off and assist another city who had some kind of emergency staffing needs. So just really briefly, AT&T is requesting an amendment to their CUP so that they can install a generator. Mark gave you some of the details on the generator and some of the sound implications and equipment and such. And so we are just requesting a motion to approve the resolution associated with that.
All right. Thank you for that synopsis. So I'm looking for a motion to approve a resolution approving a conditional use permit amendment allowing the installation of a generator and associated equipment to be located at the base of the existing cellular tower located at 5115 Industrial Street.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Fay,
Second.
second by Francis. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. Next item of business is public safety budgets, and we're going to do this in two separate acts tonight. So I'm going to turn that over to Clarissa.
Thank you, Mayor. So the City of Maple Plain obviously has two JPAs, one for police and one for fire. The police JPA is managed all through West Hennepin Public Safety. We have a police commission that essentially they submit, Gary submits the budget to them for initial review. We have two members on that commission. The budget comes back to us for discussion and review. The JPA states that the member cities will make recommendations for changes. Did I put the, hold on, I had the exact language here. The council of each member shall approve the budget on or before November 15th of each current calendar year, making such changes as it deems necessary. It could also be by joint resolution of both councils. The draft or drafts of the budget approved shall be forwarded immediately to the commission, which shall have full authority to resolve any differences among the draft budgets approved by the council. So this kind of goes back to that, like it's been done sort of opposite in the past, it's my understanding. But that is the kind of the reading of that JPA. So my recommendation is we approve the budget. Now we did, after some discussions with council, suggest a revision in the budget that was presented that reflects a change from the proposed wage policies. I essentially kind of took those estimates and split them up, kind of roughly into this revised budget, the line item budget. So the total decrease, I didn't put the total number, is roughly $57,000, I believe, of which $17,732 would be the Maple Plain portion. So, any questions? I muddle through that, okay?
So, go ahead.
I was just saying, so does this, because we agreed on the market rate increase and the cost of living increase that were proposed. So do these numbers include those increases that we agreed on?
The market rate, so the COLA of the 4%, and then the market rate was not across the board. That was the 6% for badged officers. And then the longevity based on only the police officers, not sergeants, chief, and admin.
Yeah, so I know the longevity is where we had some, we were still discussing, but so the COLA and the market increase are in here.
Yes, except for the
As proposed.
market did not include the admin staff.
Okay.
That was the one portion that was left off.
Okay.
Yeah.
But all
And it-
badged officers.
Right.
And then just to be clear, so this is not tying us into anything, because Wednesday we have a police commission meeting where I'm hoping we can negotiate, because we presented our offer and we haven't had a meeting since.
Correct. And so these are really suggestions. Again, the JPA leaves the final decision on the budget to the fire commission. So fire
Police.
commission,
Police.
oh my gosh, I did it again. I did it five times in the workshop. The police commission is delegated the authority to adopt that budget, and then the member cities are then responsible for that budget. I mean, we have representation on that commission. You guys are appointed as the commissioners, and so, yes.
All right, I just want to make sure we're not tying ourselves into anything and defeating the purpose of
Well,
negotiations. So that's why I want
no,
to be very
I
clear
definitely-
with how this works.
Yeah, I don't think that so to be clear, this motion doesn't tie you into anything. The joint powers agreement ties you into it. So you're I mean, you have to adopt a budget, right? The JPA says, you know, the fire commission is responsible for, oh my gosh. It's like, what's that called? Muscle memory, or the, you know what I mean? The police commission. So
Just to be clear, we approved a preliminary budget which included the original recommendation from the PD. Subsequently, the city council, in addition to the 2 members of the police commission and yourself, have sat down and worked up a formulary for wages that reflects this 57,000 package between the 2 cities.
Correct.
That's what we're, you know, that's what we're proposing to.
Right, but
to-
we're still not tied into, because we still have negotiations.
Yeah, we have, yeah.
But to
It
be
has
clear-
It has to pass that police commission.
to be clear, the police commission ties the city. The JPA ties the city. So as soon as you, as a police commissioner, adopts that budget, the city is committed. This doesn't come back to the city council for a final approval. We're tied, I mean, the police commissioners tie us to that number.
And what happens if we hit a stalemate?
I haven't consulted Scott on that particular issue. I'm not an attorney by any means, and I think it would be, I doubt it has happened in the past.
It has not.
I can't imagine. I don't know. The JPA does not speak specifically to that instance. Now, loosely, I guess I would argue that your current budget essentially would move forward. This is sort of the status quo is sort of what stands. But Independence's attorneys might argue differently.
And since the beginning of our first budget discussion, my understanding was the sticking point was the longevity with council. Is that still the same?
Yes, I fully support the market increase and the cost of living.
Agreed. Okay. And we're just trying to work with the longevity to slow it down.
Well, there was a comment during the previous police commission meeting in which the chief expressed an interest to continue a market increase with administrative. And that is, this $57,000 is reflective of administration getting the COLA, but not the market adjustment. So that's there too. I mean, there's many working parts on this, let's put it that way.
Sure.
Which will be part of the conversation
Yes.
Wednesday at Police Commission, but I'm just making sure council is aware of what's going on and everyone's on the same page. Since it sounds like we could make a decision that we'll all be living with. Great. Any other questions or clarifications regarding the West Hennepin Public Safety budget? Okay, so looking to approve the 2023 West Hennepin Public Safety budget with the attached changes made to wage-related line items in the total budget amount.
So moved.
Moved by Cahill,
I'll second that.
second by Fay. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, motion carries. Next item is to approve the 2023 Maple Plain Fire Department budget as presented. I don't know, did you have anything you wanted to say on that?
No, we've talked about this a couple of times. Fire Commission, see, I said it right this time. Has obviously reviewed this. They're not recommending any changes. Finance Committee, I think we talked about it briefly. Not too many concerns, just kind of typical increases and sort of the sign of the times, inflationary pressures on equipment and turnout gear and all that stuff, so
Training.
trainings, yeah.
All right, so we're looking for a motion to approve the 2023 Maple Plain Fire Department budget as presented.
I'd be happy to do that.
Motion by Fay,
Second.
second by Francis. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. Next item of new business this evening is the Hennepin County Facilities Grant, and I'm going to turn that over to staff. Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. So we will be continuing our discussion. We started to chat about this at the workshop a little bit. The only really, the formal action that we need on this grant, we're still kind of narrowing down exactly what we're going to do, but the resolution, we need to include a resolution authorizing the filing of the grant application. And so we have presented a draft resolution. We left a couple blanks that determine the amount that we're requesting and the amount that we are going to be provided for matching funds, and we are, I believe, there was a consensus to go with a total project of $300,000, requesting $250,000 from the Hennepin Youth Sports Program, and we will assume responsibility providing matching funds of $50,000. Does that sound right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Right, so with that, we're looking to adopt a resolution authorizing the filing of the Hennepin County Facilities Grant application and pledging the execution of the final agreements with Hennepin County. If the grant is awarded, we would apply for the $300,000 amount, $250,000 in grant, and $50,000 would be the city's responsibility.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Francis,
Second?
second by Cahill. Any further discussion or questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. Next item of new business is quarterly financial report, and I will turn that back over to our administrator, Clarissa.
Thank you, Mayor. You guys have the reports. You see these on a monthly basis. We're getting a little bit more detail here for the quarterly report. So the summary is provided. Revenues are at about 57% of budgeted revenues. The next tax settlement is in November, and we expect the total revenues to be pretty close to what we budgeted for the year. Expenses are also very much on track. We're 3/4 of the way through the year, and most of our expense departments are relatively on track or even under budget. Our overall expenditures are at about 70% of budgeted expenses, but we haven't made our CIP transfer just yet, so I just kind of plug that into the spreadsheet, and if we do that, if we did 3/4 of that transfer, we would actually be right at 75% for the year. So obviously there's some kind of give and take between departments, but I think we'll be pretty close in the end.
Any questions regarding the quarterly financial report?
And what number did we feel that the transfer was going to be?
So the CIP transfer is budgeted for 110.
Okay.
And we're looking on track with that. All right, looking for a motion to receive the quarterly financial reports as submitted and stated.
So moved.
Moved by Fay,
Second?
second by Cahill. Any further discussion or questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. Next item of business this evening is council reports and other business, and I will start with Councilmember Francis.
Okay. For the past month, I attended the Planning Commission meeting, which we talked about at workshop. The the application for a generator, which seems to be a good addition. We talked extensively about signage, like we did in the workshop. One thing Planning Commission wanted me to bring to council is our welcome to Maple Plain signs. They think they need to pop a little more. And I told them I would deliver the message.
And that is actually on our plans for future topics is signage. We just haven't gotten to it for the entire city. So we appreciate that.
In the CIP.
Yeah, it's there.
So I was supposed to attend the fire meeting last week, and I was ill, so I apologize for that.
We thank you for not sharing your germs.
Oh, by the way, they did say that.
Because I was out of town, so thank you for being willing to go for me.
I am planning on going to the ribbon cutting ceremony on the
Okay.
31st.
Awesome. All right, Councilmember Fay.
Well, in the month of October, I have continued to attend meetings of the Orono Rotary. I attended a fire commission earlier in the month where we conducted a final read and review of the 2023 fire budget, which we basically just approved tonight. Last week I attended a fire relief meeting where we reviewed and accepted the results of our 2021 audit, as well as approved the recommendations to have a 2022 study to review the financial impact of the current pension fund. Pair of workshops, lots of discussions in both of them. Attended a combined budget and personnel final read and additions to the personnel manual, which we approved tonight, and discussed and approved a modest increase in the Maple Plain firefighters' wage, as well as a modest increase in the mayor and council members' stipend. Attended a special meeting and discussed the mediation process with Collision Corner, and then a personal, since I have the floor, shout out to a pair of spouses. Number one, my wife Ruth, who on the 10th of October we celebrated 30 years of marriage, and number two, to the mayor's husband Bart, who celebrated 25 years of marriage on the 11th.
Awesome. Congratulations.
It was easy.
I'll reserve comment on
I
that.
was gonna say, is somebody gonna make a joke?
I was told I shouldn't make those. I attended the fire department open house, which is always a lovely time, and got lots of great feedback from families who went as well. I also attended the Watershed Commission meeting, and we had significant public comment. There's a lot of interest in the Bridgevine development, which is going in Independence, just north of us. So just a lot of residents wanting to make sure that we do it well. And so Watershed follows all the rules and all that.
All right,
That's
thank
the
you.
one off Peckinkoff?
Yes.
All right. Thank you. I was able to attend the Delno Senior Center and represent Maple Plain. Something exciting right now going on with that group is they are raising funds to purchase a van. So they will be able to even offer more transportation help or assistance than they currently are offering to Maple Plain residents. So looking forward to that coming true. Rotary's been very busy, quite a few meetings with that. And then we are currently planning the Veterans Day program, which we would like to invite all of you and the viewers to. It will be held in the Orono High School at 8:45 a.m. on Veterans Day, and our very own Paul Stinson American Legion Post will be presenting the colors, and it's always a very moving service, and I love it afterwards when you see the students come down and, you know, talk with the vets and shake hands. I think that's something we're missing a lot in today's society. So looking forward to that, and please join us. Was able to attend the Fire Commission meeting where it's budget seasons, as you heard from tonight's meeting. So we worked on that and excited that that is done and looking forward to the new year with them. We've had multiple workshops and then mediation and strategies, so we're working on those things. At the West Hennepin Chamber of Commerce, we had career counselors come in and talk about different resources for residents and as for business owners as well, so either hiring or looking to be employed, so that was helpful. At Northwest Hennepin League, it was an interesting meeting. David Arbit came and did a residential market update. So he looked at all 13 cities in the Northwest Hennepin League and did a market update. So that was good. Last week was able to attend the Minnesota Women in City Government, and we are working on planning the annual event for that. I was able to attend the Maple Plain Fire Department open house, which is something I've been doing probably since I was about 5 years old, and always a fun tradition. And I just love sitting there and watching the kids have fun. And yes, I still ooh and ah over the helicopter and think, should I climb the ladder? Should I not? But anyways, it's a great event. Unfortunately, I was able to, fortunately, I was able to attend both movie in the park events that our staff worked really hard on, but unfortunately, both movie in the park events this year needed to be moved indoors thanks to Mother Nature, and just had lots of competing things going on those evenings, so we will try and do that again. Another chamber event coming up is this Saturday, so we encourage everyone to come out to the Truck and Treat event. It is for people of all ages. It's a free event. There's bouncy house, art projects, trunk and treats, and then the food trucks, which obviously you'd need money for to purchase. And then we're thankful to all the businesses who have donated items to the silent auction, and there will be a raffle basket celebrating that Highway 12 is open, and there's $500 worth of gift cards in that basket to all of our restaurants in town, and you can purchase a chance for $5 each or 5 for $25. So come and support the event. We'll be down in the parking lot of Forklifts and Iron Exchange down on Gateway Boulevard. So that was it for me. Anything else? Anything from you, Clarissa? All right. With that, we are looking for items for the leaflet topics. I don't know. Are you planning to do one this week or next week?
I was actually just made a note to myself, maybe we should try and do it a little earlier this week so we can get the truck and treat event in there and get it delivered to people a little sooner. So yeah, any requests for communications items?
Yeah, I think we could start advertising the Veterans Day program too. I mean, November sounded so far away, but now it's really close. I'm like, and I can get you more information if you need for that too. Anybody else with anything else for communication topics?
I think putting in the yard waste cutoff.
Oh, yeah, the date when they quit picking up the bags.
Yeah.
Yeah, so people are forewarned.
Yeah.
Because it is a hard stop. What is it, the first Monday of November, I think? Is that correct?
I don't
Is it
know,
really?
that's why I needed it.
Yeah,
It
it's,
is. Well, then we only have 1 week
There's
left.
only two, I think there's only 2 yard wastes left. Maybe
Well,
it's
next week's
maybe
the
it's middle,
31st.
but yeah, it's very early November.
Okay, yeah, if we could check on that, that would be great.
Yeah.
Seasonal parking restrictions start November 1st as well, so if you want to
Oh, that would be a
put
good
that
one.
in there in case it snows.
Right, that'd be a good one to put in there, because that's November to April.
And November 1st to April 15th. I think
April
it is.
15th,
Yeah.
okay. And do we know with the yard waste, will they still pick up the green yard cart, or is that done too then? Because that would be a good thing to communicate, since we have
I
so many.
believe it's all done, because we start to get into those freezing temperatures and they just can't get the trucks emptied. So I believe it's everything is done.
Okay, so the yard cart won't get picked up then either.
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
just because I know that's newer to a lot of residents.
Yeah.
Anything else we feel like for the leaflet or other things going on?
Do we need to put a reminder in there of people to keep their dogs leashed and to clean up their little messes?
A reminder probably is good. There's been a lot of things on Nextdoor and Facebook about dogs off leash and frustrated residents.
Street sweeping, so that, did I hear street sweeping's coming up next week?
Hydrant flushing this week.
This week, and
Street
street
next
sweeping
week.
next week? Maybe a note so that cars don't park during the day on the streets?
And trailers.
Right.
We have trailers in Three Oaks and Howard coming out. What's yours?
We've never had enough parking over there.
I know, right? Lots of things
Loaded
going on.
Great, I know.
Wow.
Great, glad I am.
That's good.
So I have one more question. Are people allowed to burn leaves in fire pits?
No,
No.
you cannot burn yard waste.
Is that
Right?
something we can put in?
Isn't there an
building
ordinance?
You cannot burn leaves, no,
code? Okay.
in your ordinance.
And
You
grass.
or grass.
You can't, yeah, grass and leaves
Can-
are not.
Can we stick that in there? Because
And you can have a
My
3x3
neighbor-
fire pit with sticks, but you cannot.
with
without a
sticks,
permit.
but not
3x3.
Right?
yard waste.
I'm like looking at you like I'm remembering that's my
You don't
memory,
need a
right?
permit.
You don't need a permit.
Don't need a permit, no.
For
Not for a
3x3
But
controlled.
It must be recreational.
Yes, Mr.
Have
Fay.
your hot dogs and your marshmallows nearby.
S'mores time.
I got a story.
Oh my. Firefighters are here too. They're gonna watch your house.
They were there.
Oh, oh my. Okay, well, on that note, I am looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Francis,
Second.
second by Cahill. The meeting's adjourned at 8:01.